Hey guys, we are in the last week of our series called Cheat Codes. And that's all about helping us discover what we need to live the life God has for us. Now, in case you've not joined us before or you forgot, a cheat code is those shortcuts and secrets to make a game easier. And so you advance to new levels and complete the game faster. And don't you wish there was a cheat code for life? A way to discover God's best life for us? Well, don't I have some good news for you? There is something God gives us to help us do that. And it's what we're talking about today. So let's just jump in with a couple of questions. What's the nicest thing someone's ever said to you? Something that you remember and think about to make yourself feel good. On the flip side, what's the rudest or meanest thing someone has ever said to you? Something that's stuck with you. That is just those things that you just can't forget. Like, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share your answers, but instead let me share something with you. I was in the middle of my A-levels and I had a parents' evening. You know, that's never a good start. And in the middle of this conversation between my teacher, my mum and myself, my teacher turns to my mum, not even to me, and says, Paul is never going to be able to get to grips with this subject. To say that was hurt me was an understatement. My teacher had never told me that I was struggling with her class, and then she threw me under the bus with my mum, and I was devastated. Like, I felt so unsupported, and it meant that I never wanted to go to her lesson again. She just didn't believe in me, so I didn't want to be there. Maybe you've experienced something similar to that before, and if you have, you don't need me to tell you how much power words can have. And because of that, the way we use them can have a huge impact on our relationships. Often when we say things, we can say things before we even think. And just imagine for a moment if we recorded everything we said to people and listened to them back. Would you be happy for others to listen to that too? Because we know how much our words can impact and affect others. When it comes to words, at times we're guilty of not considering the impact they have on other people. We don't always treat our words like they do have power, but in reality they do. Maybe you talk differently about certain people than you do talk to them. You're okay talking about someone with your friends when they're not around you, but when the person comes to the room, your words completely change. Or maybe you like to make the rude jokes about someone of your team or in your class, and you make fun of them, but you wait until they're not there and there's no adults about to hear you. Maybe you're really good at saying what you don't mean, or meaning what you don't say. The words that come out your mouth may say one thing, but your tone says something totally different. Maybe you use harsh tone with your siblings, or a sarcastic tone with your teachers, or even a tone with your friends that doesn't make them feel great. And while your words on their own aren't bad, your tone is telling everyone what you really think. Or maybe your trouble with words starts with getting into arguments or fights. Different people respond in different ways to conflict and drama, right? And some people yell and some people get quiet. Some people get defensive, some people blame others. Some start telling everyone about the drama and some just start running away completely. No matter how you respond, if you're honest, you'd have to admit that when you do, you aren't always thinking about choosing your words well. And no matter which category we fall into, we can probably admit that we often use our words in ways that aren't great. We don't always consider the impact of our words on others. So the question in this is, how do we change that? Like, what are the cheat codes to help us think about what we say before we actually say it? How can we use our wisdom with words? Well, here's the good news. The answer to that question is actually found in the question itself. It's wisdom. Wisdom is doing what's best for you and the people around you. It's not just what's right, it's what's best. It's the life skills to follow Jesus. Wisdom helps us win at life and makes the cheat codes to help us manage our words wisely. What's great is that the Bible is full of wisdom and on so many things, including words. So today we're going to look at a verse in the book called Proverbs that I think will help us think about the words in a better way. And Proverbs has loads of wise sayings from this guy called King Solomon, who is known to be one of the wisest people in history. And when talking about words specifically, he said this: "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. See, what happens when you fall out with a friend, argument with your parents, or fight with your siblings? Normally harsh words, those words that can upset or hurt someone's feelings, that when that happens, it definitely doesn't make the situation better, does it? In fact, they can cause more anger, more frustration and conflict. They can make bad situations worse. And you may say a meaner insult, a ruder comment, or start a bigger rumour. And let's just agree, things can get messy, can't they? But before we think that's always what it's got to be, let's check out the beginning of that verse again. A gentle answer turns away wrath. You might be wondering what that means, because we don't often use the word wrath today, but it means an extreme anger. So those moments when people get really upset, really mad, really angry and hurt, when the situation is heated, if we use wisdom in those moments, it means we'll be saying something calm and kind and gentle. Now I get it, it's not always easy. And in the midst of it, when you're feeling like you're boiling over, and wisdom is not just about doing the right thing, but doing the best thing. It says that we should choose something calm to say, something kind, something that can be really difficult in those moments. But when we use our words intentionally and we think about the words, we will see that it's a lot less messy a situation afterwards. Because the reality of it is, our words matter. You might be thinking, Paul, that's not right. They've hurt me, they've upset me, and I should be able to say whatever I want. And I get it. But when we do, and you think that makes you feel better, it doesn't really make things any better. It doesn't take away the things that they've said. And you might be thinking, at least I've shown those who's boss. But that's the power of the gentle word. It shows you were in control the whole time. It shows you've been able to change the situation. It shows that you're the one who can influence what happens, and you're the one who has the power in that moment. Choosing a gentleness is wise, and wisdom is powerful. So remember, your words matter. If you want the best relationships with others and the kind of life that God has for you, one of the best things you can do is choose your words wisely. And I know this sounds much easier when I'm saying it than putting it into practice. And we might not always get it right, but wisdom is our cheat code and our words matter. So I think it's important to do whatever we can to choose a gentle answer, like Solomon said. So here are 4 helpful ideas that can guide us when it comes to our words. The first one is hit pause. Sometimes when we are angry or hurt, the best thing we can do is nothing at all. Just take a few moments, and you might need to walk away. You might need to start thinking about the wise words you're going to say. The second is use statements like I think and I feel. These are great phrases to talk about your feelings and how the situation is without making it worse. And saying I think what you said there was harsh rather than you're horrible. Well, these phrases are great because it helps you respond and helps you to pick a gentle word and express yourself in those moments. The third is name what's bothering you. What's the emotion you felt? Do you feel hurt, jealous, angry, embarrassed, sad? Because when you know how you feel, you can better communicate it. And lastly, just stop the back and forth. When you find yourself saying harsh and nasty things to one another, just choose to stop and end it. And I know these aren't easy steps to take, and whoever said the best way would be easy just wasn't telling you the truth. Because following Jesus isn't always an easy thing to do. But imagine we started putting this into practice. Just think how it might help our relationships with our friends, our parents, our siblings, or even our teachers. Because conflicts and arguments won't disappear from our lives, but the sooner we can learn to have a healthier response, the better our relationships will be. So remember, your words matter.